okay.
Okay. So here we are 2 weeks later.
Hi, everybody.
Because life keeps getting in the way.
Oh, dear God. You ain't kidding.
Between shit and getting sick.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Last week was my fault, guys. I'm sorry. I don't remember
Well,
why, but I know it was my fault.
Well, we were going to, and then I got sick because Amelia was sick. So I was just like, I'm going to sleep.
Uh-huh.
It was a rough week. That entire week was just like, there was just always something to do and always something going on.
Yes, it is. Jesus Christ. I'm just glad I took this week off. I'm like, yes, we need it. I'm going bonkers here.
I barely got Wednesday off because everybody else is taking everything off.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. So, at least I got Wednesday. We can still go to the aquarium.
Luckily enough, I'm the only one besides my boss's son that has school-age kids, so nobody really needs school vacation off. So I'm like, yay.
So you're free and clear.
Pretty much.
Yay. We survived, though.
Yes, we did.
Have you
So,
done anything fun the last few weeks?
I finally
Besides
bit
fix your storm door.
Oh, dear God. I can't wait till that fucking thing is done.
It just sounds worse and worse when you tell me it's like, oh, it's just an easy fix, and you're still working on it.
Uh-huh. It's more time and... The problem with it was supposed to be a very easy fix. But like half the other shit in this house, the previous owners were either the previous owner or the people who owned it before them did a lot of half-ass shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to light now, and I'm like, fuck off. Like, to add some background, people, as to what we're talking about, my storm door, we had like a major windstorm a couple weeks back, if you're not from like the Northeast area. And the storm door wasn't secured well enough, and the wind was heavy enough that it ripped the door off the frame. Like, and when I mean ripped the door, I'm not talking about the door itself came off the frame. The door that was attached to the door plate, the trim around the door, and that got ripped off, and that had like a good 3-inch nails into my house that was holding it down, and that came completely off. I'm like, what the fuck? How does that even happen? Like when I was on my way home and Callie told me what happened, and I'm like, wait, what? I'm laughing the entire time. I'm like, how the fuck does that even happen?
In denial.
Yeah, pretty much. And then I went to go look at it. I'm like, it really did rip off the fucking thing. So my father-in-law was nice enough to put the trim back on so it didn't look ugly as shit. But the storm door's still in my living room right now. And these last couple of weekends I've just spent, because the cracks in between had some weird, I'm assuming it's just old, must have been their version of foam insulation at that time that was crumbling.
Mm-hmm.
And I was wondering why the hell we're getting a draft inside our house around the door. Mm-hmm. So I had to scrape that shit out. I had to clean up the wood trim, because that was half-assed done. Put a massive amount of freaking wood putty to fix up all the dents and scrapes and holes and whatnot. And then I caulked the living shit out of all the holes. And yes, this is a very dirty episode. I'm sorry, people. Basically
very
filled it.
centric.
Yeah, all right. basically went through like 3 tubes of caulk to make sure that
Yeah.
to basically make sure there was no draft whatsoever that's going to make it into this
Not
house.
taking any chances.
Yeah, if it does at this point, it's not for my frickin' door.
Mm-hmm. It's a
Um,
ghost.
but yeah. So this weekend, basically, because the sanding block I have is a fine grit one, so it's not taking a whole lot of material. I wasn't gonna go back to Home Depot to get a new one. Today I went back, grabbed another couple of cans of spray paint. I know it's probably not the best way to paint the trim, but at that point I really didn't care. I wasn't getting a brush and painting it. Shit. Got the coarse grit, sanded it down, reputtied to fill in whatever didn't fill in correctly. Waited a couple hours and then sanded and spray painted again. So, if I didn't fuck that up, tomorrow the storm door goes up, and it will stay there. It will not. It should not come off the door.
Maybe I need to recategorize this podcast instead of gaming.
Oh Jesus! The days of our lives and all the shit we have to go through.
Before we got on that, you were going to say you bit the bullet and did something else.
Oh yes. I finally bit the bullet. At that time, I was trying out the new update for Dreamlight, and I just happened to was like, screw it, I'm gonna buy the deluxe package, and got that for the Founders Pack just for the Moonstones mainly. But all the other add-ons were nice. And then while I was at it, the PlayStation Store had its own little thing where it's like, hey, pay an extra $20 and you can upgrade to premium for the next 6 months. And I'm like, what the hell? We were talking about it, and I might as well bite the bullet and try it out. So yeah,
just a reminder for that. What do you get with it? Like the extra game downloads and stuff?
Right, exactly. I now have access to their game catalog that they have available. I've actually downloaded a couple of older games like Final Fantasy VII, the original one, Final Fantasy X and X-2 remake. What else? What else have I added on there? I can download Ragnarok if I want to. So yeah, whatever's available on there between PlayStation 4, 5, no, not 5, because I have a 4. Between 4, 3, 2, and 1 that they have available.
Blast off.
Yeah!
And then something else exciting, to me at least, but equally for you once you actually do it, was you were going to do what this year?
Oh, yes. After, and we'll talk more about it later, but after watching Nintendo Direct, I am biting the bullet and will be putting money aside to get a Switch this year.
Yay! One of us. Do you have any idea which one you want to get?
It's not going to be the Lite. I can tell you that much.
Okay. Do you care if it's going to be like the base one or if it's going to be the OLED model? Do you want it to be a Pokemon one? Do you want it to be Animal Crossing themed?
I'm not big onto the themed systems, so unless there happens to be a deal going on with it, then yeah, sure, why not? But what's the difference between the regular and the OLED?
Nothing really, just a screen.
Oh, then fuck that.
The screen and the base that the Switch will go in has an Ethernet port on it. On the OLED models, that's it.
And how much of a difference in price is that?
Good question. I don't know. I think maybe $50. If I had to guess off the top of my head.
I may go OLED just because of the Ethernet port.
Mm-hmm.
Just so that I don't have like an internet lag and blame it on my Wi-Fi as I'm playing games. But
I play exclusively on Wi-Fi and haven't really had a problem. It's more on a game-by-game basis.
Okay. Because I noticed how much of a difference it made for my for PlayStation, where especially when it came to like Dreamlight.
Well, yeah, those games are more multiplayer heavy and like download heavy too. Like even with the
Right.
Switch, the most I've ever had to download for an update or something was like maybe a gig.
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. It's not information heavy, so so easier.
Yeah.
I would.
Desert.
I might still get the OLED just because of the port, just to have the option.
Right. Never hurts to have options.
Nope. So what have you? What about you? What have you been up to?
Nothing.
No new games, nada.
No. Tales of Symphonia released. I just haven't bought it yet to download it. And I don't know how I missed this. Maybe it was just because they showed it off during one of the Nintendo shows.
Yeah.
That it's actually on the Xbox as well. So
Okay.
if there's achievements, then I'm going to download it on the Xbox and play it.
Woohoo!
Other than that, just been on and off of Destiny. Dude, I haven't really played anything that I can think of like that's standing out right now. I feel like there was something that I actually played, but now that I'm thinking about it, I can't remember. So it must not have stuck with me.
We were boring these couple of weeks.
Yeah, well, I've gotten away.
Yes, it did. It hit us like a sack of bricks.
Yeah. I'm just hoping that there's more time available for when Lightfall comes out. That's the new Destiny expansion that's released on the 28th. They're going down for a full day on the 27th to prepare for it, and then it's going to come back up on the 28th.
Ooh.
Yeah. So
Done.
I'm hoping that there's going to be time. Going to try to make time for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yay.
Woohoo!
All right, let's intro this thing.
Hi, everybody. I'm
Hi,
your host,
how you doing?
Mike.
What? And I guess I'm your host, Adam.
And this is the Ramblepack podcast. Mwahaha.
Quick, what episode number? Without looking, no look.
23.
Close, 24.
Ah, damn it.
You were close. Just one off. That's 2 weeks, 3 off.
Apparently.
Back it just.
Oh, man.
Yeah. So, I know I asked you last week, so I'll ask you again. Do you want to start off anywhere specific in this, or just go from top to bottom again?
Yeah, let's go from top to bottom again. That's fine.
That's what she said. Okay. Exciting news. Dead Island 2 has finally gone gold, and they're releasing a week early.
Yay!
It's now releasing on April 21st. I can't read. After
And
what,
we're just
10
starting.
plus years in development, this game is finally coming out, and it looks a lot better than the first one.
After 10 years, I would hope so.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on with that game's development. I'm just happy that it's still alive and finally coming out. I'm excited.
Fair
I love the
enough.
first one, even with all the jank. It was a weird it felt weird playing it for like a first-person zombie survival game. It felt weird, but it wasn't bad. I don't want to do Hogwarts Legacy yet. I'm not ready.
Come on.
That's just like jumping in the deep end. How about something exciting and unexpected?
Unexpected,
How well-
yes.
How well Sonic Frontiers has done since December. We were so unsure about it. I tried the demo. I was like, oh, this is pretty fun. And since December, they sold 2.9 million copies of the damn game.
Yay!
Which
Good job.
they've even come out, Sega's even come out and said, yeah, didn't expect it. They've exceeded all of our expectations for what we thought was going to do. So, from what I've read on that, they're going to pump more money into the sequel for whatever they plan to do later.
Don't fuck it up.
Well, they have a new. I wish I could remember the dude's name, but it's a whole new game director that got Sonic Frontiers pushed out, and
Yeah.
apparently he knows what he's doing because it was a decent hit.
No
So I'm
shit.
sure that they're going to let him run the ship for it this for the sequel.
I wouldn't doubt it. If
No, no.
they're if they did so well that they're willing to increase people's salaries by about 30%. Ah, damn it!
What'd you do?
I smacked my headphone cord.
Good job.
I've been doing that a lot lately since I've had it jacked into the back of my monitor.
So you were saying?
Oh no, yeah, I. Oh my god! Dead silence. Woohoo! No,
Dead air.
dead ass. No,
No. That's not what I said.
no. What I was saying is, they must be very confident in what's going on and are willing to give him the chance to handle things from here.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since they're doing well enough to increase people's salaries by 30%.
Yep. A document specifically from them is what stated that too. That's what I found online. Sega Sammy, like the name itself is Sega Sammy Holdings Inc. It's like their entire name, I guess.
Yeah.
Starting on July 1st of this year, they're going to increase. Say here, the average monthly salary of existing employees by approximately 30%. By raising their base salary and increasing the ratio of base salary within the annual salary by incorporating parts of bonuses. As a result of this revision, the initial salary for the university graduates will increase from 220,000 yen to 300,000 yen, which is about 35%.
Woohoo!
They had a good year, I guess.
Yes. Like I said, Sega, don't fuck it up.
I wish I could remember like just how diversified their stuff is, because it's not just like they have Sonic. They have their hands in a couple other games too that they ship out to like all the consoles. So I'm wondering just how many people they are working with to get their games made to get it out.
True.
That's something I haven't looked into, but I'm interested.
I don't know. I just know it's been years, but when I think Sega, I keep thinking failed console. Repeatedly, failed console.
Well, when you say failed console, what comes to mind?
I'm thinking the last console that I thought was successful was the Genesis. And then after that,
You're not wrong.
Because if I'm not mistaken, what was after that? It was the Dreamcast, or was it the?
Well, there was different
The
flavors
Saturn.
to that too. It was like there was the Genesis, there was the Master System, there was the 32X. And that was all like different flavors of the Genesis itself.
Yeah.
And then you had Sega Saturn, which came out like not too long after those. And it kind of started like it was like, are you going to do Sega Genesis or are you going to do Saturn? Like they came out so close together that you were like kind of stuck between picking one or the other. It was a little while after that that the Dreamcast came out, and that's when they went downhill on console sales.
Right. And then
The only
then
problem with that is that the Dreamcast did great. Do you know why it failed?
Not really. I just know that it did.
DRM issues. It was super easy to crack the Dreamcast and just download games, put it on a CD, and then put it in the Dreamcast and play it. There was no real DRM or any kind of security on those discs to prevent you from playing games that came off the internet.
No shit.
So because they weren't like you weren't getting anywhere with sales or anything like that, they didn't make their money back, so they had to drop out of the console sales.
They basically killed themselves.
They just had poor security on their stuff.
Not to mention, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that also around the time that they came out with their own handheld, and it just like the battery life was shit at best.
You might be thinking of something that came out before that. They had a thing called, I think I mentioned this a long time ago too. They had a thing called the Sega Nomad, which was a giant brick. Think of it like you know how big the Switch is. Think of it like that, but
Right.
twice as thick. And it ran on 6 AA batteries. And you can plug in the Genesis cartridges in it and take it on the go and play it. It was just cost prohibitive. Those things were expensive, and it ate batteries like nothing else.
Yeah, because I think what was the system life? 2 hours at best.
Yeah, 2 or 3 hours just playing it straight. On 6 AA batteries. That's expensive.
Whereas you could put it in 2 fresh AA batteries in a Game Boy, and you're good for like 2-3 days.
You're good for like 3 weeks.
Depends on how heavy you used it. I used mine pretty heavy when I was a kid. That's where I'm getting my 2 to 3 days from.
But yeah, that was their foray into the handheld market, which they didn't continue on.
Hey, just keep
The
it up.
Dreamcast had those little VMUs. The things that plug directly into the controller. Like you get Hello Cat. You get additional things with certain games. To your left. On the seat. I think it was Snow. Little white ball.
Oh yeah, he hopped up onto the couch.
So yeah. That's all I know about Sega.
But yeah, that's all I think about is they fizzled out, man.
Yeah, because they were specifically number 2 against Nintendo. They came out against them making the Genesis.
Yeah?
Like, do you remember what their old catchphrase was?
I don't. Holy crap.
Sega does what Nintendo don't.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah. That's the 90s for you.
And that's got to be the most cringy thing I've ever heard.
It wasn't in the 90s. Dude, that helped sales, man. It stuck with people.
Apparently not that well.
Well, that was a different time, too. Oh, God. It was 20 years ago.
Or more.
Yeah. We old.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Grandpa, what do we want to talk about next? Another happy thing, or you want to jump into the rough stuff?
Well, let's jump into Hogwarts Legacy. The fuck?
Okay, you go ahead.
So yeah, Hogwarts Legacy released last week. I have yet to play it, but from the videos I've seen, it's pretty cool.
That's how I feel too. I don't know anything about Harry Potter. I don't really care about the stories or the characters or anything like that. But when I saw the gameplay and how combat works and stuff, I'm like, I want to play this game. It looks like a lot of fun.
Uh-huh. And then, and here comes a shit ton of TikToks and memes of people just going, starting the game, Avada Kedavra! Just killing everybody. We're all a bunch of sick fucks, okay? But along with all the good reviews, there seems to be
a lot of discourse.
Yeah, and I get it. I get the feelings people have behind it.
Absolutely.
But my thing is, it's misplaced in this particular scenario. If this was her, and so that people understand, if you don't know what we're talking about, is the author of the Harry Potter books, J.K. Rowling, has said many transphobic statements to the point that she's very much against it, and has used
very much against trans people.
Right. And has tried, and supposedly, I don't try to read into it too much, to be honest. Tried using her clout as a celebrity writer and stuff like that to advocate against it. And people are posting online that they're upset against it, and rightfully so. You should be upset against those type of statements because it shouldn't. It's in today's day and age. It has no place. I don't care who the hell you are. It's none of your business.
Let
But at
people live
this
their life.
right. But their solutions, or they're saying you're the problem if you buy this game. You're supporting her. No, you're not. The best. You can say that if she's coming out with a new book, because you'd be supporting her directly.
Right.
You're when you say boycott this game, she's not outside of her. I don't even know if she's even making any royalties on this.
See,
I'm sure
that's what
she
I was
is.
trying to look up too, and I'm not seeing anything about royalties. The most that she might get anything from is just the Harry Potter franchise itself. You know, it's part
Right.
of that universe. But she has no direct involvement with the game. She was not sitting on the board making decisions. This is just coming from the studio that made the game. They made
Right.
those choices just in that universe.
Right. And
But people are upset because of her remarks and her beliefs that they ended up trying to boycott the game. They're talking bad about the game. They're going as far as to make memes, make videos, and just straight out spoil the ending of the game for people. They just want to ruin anyone's experience with the game, even to the point where there's a YouTube couple, I guess it's called Girlfriend Reviews. They were streaming the game early since they bought early access for it, and people in our chat were just like slamming her for playing the game, talking crap about her, like trying to spoil it, and just to the point where she broke down in tears on the stream because they were doing this. Just because they're that hard against the game.
And that's not right. I'm sorry. You're gonna boycott a game or bash on a game
you can
that
boycott it without fucking with other people. Don't
right.
ruin someone else's experience because they want to play a game that has essentially no tangible connection to whoever made it because she didn't have any involvement in it.
Right.
You're upset because, well, I don't want to put words in somebody's mouth, but they're upset because of she's the one who created it, so therefore she's directly tied to the Harry Potter universe, which I totally understand that sentiment. But
it's beyond.
Try to go ahead.
No, I was
beyond that.
Yeah, the universe is no longer hers in that sense of the word. She gave birth to it, yes, but like, and you know how Callie is. She's one of the biggest Harry Potter fanatics you could ever meet.
Mm-hmm.
There are fan bases. There are forums where people make stories about these characters that are that build out fantasies about these people.
It was just another offshoot of fandom, like anything else that's gotten that big.
Right. It's beyond. It's its own life now. She has nothing to do with it.
And in that same vein, the company who made this game has made their own mark in that universe. It's not her story, it's their story. So why would you want to ruin someone else's experience of a game that is not directly tied to her?
Right. And even if it's not even from the gamer's perspective, why would you make baseless claims to say, hey, boycott this game and ruin the livelihood of the
developers?
Right, of the hundreds and thousands of people who've put time into this game and a lot of money into this game, ruin their livelihood because of something somebody said that has nothing to do with this. Because you think that you're supporting this game is funding her. It has nothing to do with that. If she did, I understand. But she's not.
I'm gonna say I understand like the feelings in it. You know, I get them wanting to push back against something that someone created that has these kind of views because it goes against their way of life, their feelings, their emotions. essentially their own well-being, because it's comments like that that end up getting them attacked or people riled up and going after them or preventing them from doing anything in their own life. So sure, when they feel like they're persecuted in everyday life and then someone makes these remarks that owns a property that you are a fan of, it feels personal. You know, I can only imagine that they had no, not really any choice not to take it personally, but it hit them personally.
And I get it. I just think this.
It's just unfortunate. I just hate when I totally understand the argument, and it's okay to be upset about it, but don't ruin somebody else's experience with something.
Right.
Especially when they have nothing to do with it.
Agreed, 100%. The sentiment is misplaced. Though. Yeah. Ultimately, my belief is their heart's in the right place, but God, sorry.
No, you finish, and then I'll jump in.
Well, I was saying was their heart is in the right place, but their reasoning behind it is flawed, and that's a dangerous thing. And that's what and a lot of people
it's misdirected.
Huh?
Would you say it's misdirected?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what makes things dangerous, and what people need to realize and it goes for any topic at this point, because it's happening a lot more than it should be.
I don't know if you know about this too, but like even in Hogwarts Legacy itself, there's a trans character in that game. Like that's part of the story.
That I did not know.
Yep. The character's name is Serona Ryan. But of course, I hate to say of course, but people are upset at the name as well.
Why?
I'm trying to find some of these, like the specific reason. People have pointed out, like, the name itself, Serona, apparently refers to the Celtic goddess of healing and rebirth, but I think the argument was that it sounds really generic and masculine, or it has masculine undertones.
It ends in an A. Are you freaking serious? Have no. Okay, now I'm triggered.
No, don't be.
How does the word Serona have masculine undertones? If anybody studied Latin or any other Romance languages, the ending A is feminine. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. That is feminine. As feminine as it can get. Now you're just being ridiculous. I'm sorry. This is coming from somebody who is full-blown Portuguese and took Latin for 3 or 4 years in high school. It's feminine. Get over yourselves. Sorry.
I'm trying to find, like, the exact argument. Yeah, apparently they took issue with the name specifically. Surprise, found trans character. Spotted an issue with their name. Say it's tone deaf. Transwished. Casually tells the lead character. So I realize I'm a witch, not a wizard. Stop moving. Stop it.
I'm sorry.
No, not you. Thousands of players and non-players alike were quick to point. Stop moving. Quick to point out that the name, as it has Sir at the front of it, and the last name is traditionally a boy's name. But it's a male to female.
It's a last name.
I know.
Has anybody heard of the actress Meg Ryan?
Just it's.
Are you calling her a man?
I would lump it in with the rest of the discourse. Like that's just something that they latched onto because it's a transgender character in the game.
I think people need enough's enough. People need to fuck off. Really. They're feel how you feel, but don't be stupid about it either. And this is borderline stupidity. I'm sorry.
Okay, something happy.
Yes, please.
Let's go back to Sonic. Vampire Survivors had an update, and apparently they added a couple little things about Sonic too. Like they have a special stage that has the original, what is it? The Sonic bonus stages, where like if you go to collect the Chaos Emeralds, like the bonus stages within the stage, it has those as the background for the stages. Yeah,
no shit.
Like the sphere and the in Vampire Survivors itself, the background image is the sphere that's rolling. And then the border of the level itself are like the color changing squares.
Okay.
Yeah. I thought that was pretty neat. They also added some achievements and some music.
That's cool.
The Sonic nod to the levels are pretty cool.
Well, if we're going in order, we're gonna go back. We're gonna go to something that doesn't sound like it's very nice.
Here,
nice.
I'll jump ahead.
You got any more happy news?
And I'll give you a little bit of happy news. I'll give you a little sad news, but it's happy news at the same time. Take Two missed their earnings expectations, but instead of cutting back on employees and cutting salaries, they're cutting CEO salaries by a little bit and giving it to their employees so that way they don't have to drop anybody. All their employees are staying on deck.
Good. Yay! That's how you're supposed to do a corporate.
And Take-Two is a big company too, so for them to say, "Yeah, we'll take a pay cut so everyone can stay on board, and we'll just keep making the games that we're doing."
What I'm curious about is how much of a pay cut did they take?
Good question. I don't remember seeing it in the thing that I was reading, but let's see if I can find it.
Because, like you said, they're a big company. What the how much of a pay cut did they take that they didn't need to?
Yeah, the biggest thing was
anybody.
they didn't want to. They didn't want to do layoffs, and on paper the expectation, or I should say the miss, isn't that big, but it still counts up to like $700 million for a large company. Yeah. So let's see, for Q3 for their 2023 numbers coming into this year, the revenue was $1.41 billion. But it was forecast to make 1.43 to about 1.48. So they missed it by a difference of about $5 million. Their bookings, which I guess is like stuff that you're setting up to make, was 1.38, but they were forecasted to make up to 1.46. So difference of about another $8 billion there.
Jesus.
Net loss $153 million compared to $144 million net profit in the year ago quarter. So the difference there drops it to.
That's a bit.
I think like someone did the math on Reddit and they said like it's still a miss of about $700 million, which is only like a small percentage, but it's still a decent chunk for such a large company.
That's a huge chunk of change.
Yeah, it says that what they attributed things to were consumers focusing their money towards established blockbusters rather than taking a chance on other things. So instead of taking a chance on other things and they didn't get a chance to really make money off that, but they did make some decent bank off of their back catalog. The only problem is that it at the cost of new releases.
I can see the reasoning. It makes sense. Everybody's hard up for cash at this point. Yeah. So they want to make sure that they're not wasting their money.
So because of that, they're downgrading their projections for this year, like what they're going to make and stuff like that, and they're slashing expenses wherever they can to avoid layoffs. Even
Right
their
on, you guys.
CEO, I just got his last name. His last name is Zelnick. Where's his first name at?
Yeah.
Where are you? I just had you. Where'd you go? Anyway, I don't know where he went.
We'll just call him
Zal.
Zell for now.
Okay. He went on the record and said, I just fucking had the quote. Now I lost it again. Damn it. I'm all over the place tonight. There we go. It says, when the results are poor, I take personal responsibility for them. That's coming directly from him. Our teams are delivering and over-delivering. Mm-hmm. They're delivering hits. That's what they're supposed to do. I couldn't be more proud of them. Personally, I have work to do to make sure we run this business efficiently and that we deliver results over time. And that's what I aim to do.
Yeah, so basically by the sounds of it, he's acknowledging that his team is doing the best they can. It's just on the sales end.
Yep.
They need to do a better job with like advertisement and stuff like that and making people want to buy them.
Yeah, you gotta hope people buy it. The economy sucks right now in all senses. I mean,
that's the thing.
I feel like we talked about it maybe last podcast or something, but like overall gaming revenue, it as a whole bubble, profits were down.
Mm-hmm.
Still the most though. Entertainment-wise, gaming is still at the top of the list, but there was a decent drop in profits. But I mean, it's like
absolutely,
because of supply chain issues, COVID hit things, so like not a lot of games came out, not a lot of people are spending as much money now.
Yeah, it's the same way across the board. Look at the movie industry right now. There's a lot of complaints about freaking the only things you can go see is Marvel movies, and then you got people like what the hell is his name?
Yeah, what is his name?
Guillermo del Toro and who's the old man?
The old man. I don't know.
Basically, their biggest gripes is there's no quality to movies anymore or not whatnot. Make it a superhero movie.
Old men. Are you talking about James Cameron?
No, James Cameron hasn't said that.
Wouldn't surprise me. He's made a lot of offhand comments like that kind of shit before too.
I wouldn't. I know he's said stuff like it's hard in today's nowadays where Avatar has to compete with that type of stuff, and that's what was making it harder, especially coming out of COVID-19. I wouldn't figure he'd be the one to say something along those lines, especially since he's under the Disney umbrella at this point and does not want to bite the hands that's feeding him right now.
That he doesn't give a shit. I mean, he's got his own studio, even if he is under Disney. He's just funding his own underwater excursions.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
All right.
I get it. I get what they're saying. You can't really get a chance to explore because there's no guaranteed funding anymore. Especially where they're not making it on the back end through DVD sales and stuff.
Interesting you say that because that's the same thing with games, and that actually leads into the next thing. Because Game Pass kind of alleviates a lot of developers to be able to take those kind of risks. Because that's where games like Pentiment came from. And even Hi-Fi Rush, I guess. Because it provides a safety net that it's a guaranteed X number of dollars if you put it on Game Pass. So even if you're not sure how the sales are going to go, you're still going to make something off it so you can pay the studio. So that's how, like I said, games like Pentiment were able to be made because there's that guarantee there.
Yeah.
The other side of that now is that Microsoft has had to come out and specifically say that without giving a specific percentage, because apparently it was redacted, that Game Pass sales cannibalize physical game sales. Why did I say Game Pass sales? Game Pass itself cannibalizes game sales.
That's a fair statement, to be honest. And anybody that didn't see that coming,
you're right. I
feel
feel
got a
like
bridge to sell you.
if you thought about it for a second, it's like, well, yeah, if you're just gonna spend $10 on Game Pass, why would you buy the games? The catch with Game Pass is it's supposed to give you, well, it does give you a discount on games if you buy it through your Game Pass subscription. You have access to those games, you can play them, and then you can turn around and buy them for a discount. The catch to that too is that they don't stay on there forever unless they're an Xbox like first party studio game. They don't stay on Game Pass forever.
Mm-hmm. So what? So just because I don't use Game Pass myself, I know like with PlayStation, even though they'll take it out of the store, if you have with the PlayStation Plus, if you download the game when it's available, it becomes part of your library no matter what. Even if they remove it out of the store, if it's in your library, you have access to it. You can still download it. Game Pass doesn't work that way?
Game Pass is not the same as PlayStation Plus. Game Pass is akin to Netflix. PlayStation Plus is more like Xbox's games with gold, where you have these X number of games that they give you for free basically for that time. You download them, it stays in your library. Game Pass is more, say you download a game, they take it off Game Pass, and then you go to play it. You don't have access to it because it's not part of the system and you don't own it. Your saves are still active.
Okay.
Anytime you play that game and you make a save for it, you still have it. That works. It's just, if it's not on there, you don't have access to the game.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I always thought Game Pass was akin to the PS Plus.
That is their games with gold.
I stand corrected. Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
explaining that. But yeah, I can... Even then, that, like you said, it's basically Netflix. Why are you going to pay $50-$60 for a game that you may very well only play through once, if you even finish it? And I'm assuming that it having... I don't know the life cycle of a game on Game Pass, but I'm assuming they're going to keep it on there long enough for the popularity to die down and then replace it with something better eventually.
They don't really specify how they work it, but that does seem kind of to be the case. It seems like some games stay on there longer than others too. I'm assuming it's just like whatever deal they work out.
Right. So then at that point you play the game until your heart's content. You don't want to play it anymore. Hey, guess what? It eventually comes off the Game Pass, and you probably are never going to see it again.
Unless you just decide to go and find it and buy it.
True, but by that point, at least if it's any, again, this is my personal opinion. If you're anything like me, if I play a game, probably not going to touch it for another couple of years.
Yeah.
If it's sitting on my shelf. Hell, there are games that I bought a couple of years ago that are still on my shelf that I haven't touched yet, so...
I mean, I gave an example of that 2 podcasts ago, I think. I downloaded Dragon's Dogma. Like, I bought Dragon's Dogma because it was on sale, and I forgot that I bought it and hadn't touched it for like a year. So, yeah. But, anyway, this information came out because it was part of the Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition thing. It was a UK Competition and Markets Authority provisional report. They specifically redacted the percentage that there was the percentage of decline in game sales because of Game Pass, but they had to say, yes, this is how it works. But Microsoft did later on clarify, saying that, quote unquote, Spencer said, when you put a game like Forza Horizon 4 on Game Pass, you instantly have more players of that game, which actually leads to more sales of the game. And he said that back in 2018. You say, well, isn't everybody going to just subscribe for $10 and go and play this thing? But no, gamers find things to play based on what everybody else is playing. So he says that Game Pass even then is still overall better because it still leads to game sales for the big name games like Forza Horizon. And like I said, they had mentioned how it provides that safety net for a lot of indie developers. Even specifically as an example, the studio No More Robots, which makes Descenders, Hypnospace, Outlaw, and Let's Make a Zoo. Anybody? No? Didn't think so. They defended Game Pass. The studio head specifically said that... Actually, let me pull up his quote, too, because I found that kind of interesting. Come on. Open up for me. Thank you. So, after those reports came out, he tweeted about it specifically and just said, all I can say is that we're aiming to get every single title we publish from now on onto Game Pass. In doing so, we'll secure success for each title and relieve immense pressure for the devs.
I'm behind that at that point. If it's allows them to make make quality games without
worrying,
crunched, right? The statement makes sense, but but it also has a caveat. Like you said, it's on the back end cutting out from individual games, people buying the actual game itself, because there are people who try it on Game Pass and may never buy the game, who otherwise probably would have bought the game and be like, eh. So there's the trade-off. Some people like it more, other people's don't. But it makes sense when you think about it. Game Pass is going to hinder sales of physical copies or digital copies of the game, whatever floats your boat.
Yes and no. We have this report that says that is the case, but is it on a game-by-game basis? Is it depending on what time of the year it is? Is it depending on if it's an older title or not? You know, I want to see more numbers, but they redacted the percentage that it declined anyway, so it might not even be a significant portion.
I'm curious as to why they redacted it.
Maybe not public knowledge, or not supposed to be.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
That makes sense.
If that's the case, I guess that would make sense, but still be kind of interesting because Microsoft is a publicly traded company. But they have, like, their own board, too, so... I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to the fun stuff. Nintendo Direct.
Woohoo!
So this is what sold you on the Switch, huh?
Oh, absolutely.
None of the
There were
Directs
a
that
lot
we
of
watched
games
before,
on there that were very
none of the
pretty.
E3 showcases, nothing. This is what did it.
This is what did it. I don't know why.
What
It
stood
just
out to okay. Before
I
we
think
actually go
the
down
fact-
the list, because there's a shit ton, and I don't expect to actually name off every single thing. What one or what couple games got you?
La 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 la.
Are we singing now?
Jesus, I'm just trying to look down the list. Um,
I'm going to take a guess. Disney Illusion Island?
Monkeys.
Wow.
No,
okay.
surprisingly, it looked fun. I don't like that style of
No,
Mickey,
you don't like the
Donald,
new Mickey
Goofy,
cartoons?
and all them. They look horrible. For Christ's sakes, Goofy looks
Goofy
creepy.
has yellow teeth.
He's a goddamn hobo. God damn it.
Samba de Amigo?
Yes,
Really?
that was one of them.
You like rhythm games?
I don't, which is surprising. There's been a couple of them that I don't know. They just look. I just like the look of these games. I don't know if it's just like a change of pace for me at this point, and I'm starting to like get tired of the type of games that I was playing. And not so much. It doesn't just like on its own look like it's a rhythm game, but it reminds me of like Dance Dance Revolution or
That's a rhythm game.
Rock
rhythm
Band. Well, yeah, they're rhythm. They're rhythm games, but they're hidden behind other gimmicks, type of thing.
Yeah, Rock Band, yes. Guitar Hero, yes. DDR, no. because it's just stepping on arrows to the beat of the song. Samba de Amigo is like Rock Band, where
Right.
you're holding the Switch controllers like they're maracas, and you're doing whatever it
Yeah.
shows on the screen.
Right. What was the one that I really liked?
Was it
Something
Deca Police?
That
Really?
looked cool too.
That did nothing for me. I was like, this is way too out there.
I'm into the out there, I guess.
Sea of Stars. That looked like a really cool RPG, and I had following it, or I had saw it on, I think it was not Indiegogo. What's the other one? Help me out here. Patreon, I think. It was on one of those, one of those sites trying to get funding to finish the game, and that was years ago that I saw it first.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's finishing up and coming out to the Switch now, I'm like, oh yes, now I gotta play it. It's a really cool looking RPG. And of course, Octopath Traveler 2 is coming out in like a week.
Yeah. Aren't they doing a demo release
Demo's
too
already
for
out,
that?
yeah. And of course, Tales of the Symphonia came out.
And you're excited to get that? I'm
Yeah.
assuming.
What gave you that idea?
What? Nothing.
Okay.
Just a hunch. What looked interesting is Bayonetta Origins. I'm very curious. I like the art
really,
style,
that's
to be
a
honest.
huge departure from the regular Bayonetta games, too.
I don't know if it's not. I don't know if because of the lack of TNA.
It was interesting. Was it the art style
Yeah.
that got you?
Yeah, it's the art. It's giving me like if Nightmare Before Christmas met Okami.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's the kind of vibes it's giving me. There's the Omega Strikers.
Are you interested in Splatoon?
Oh, yeah, I was interested even before wanting to get the Switch because it looked cool.
Oh, yeah. Advanced War... we talked about this.
Then I
Advanced
also
Wars 1 and
liked-
2 is finally coming out. They finally have a release date for the game.
Woohoo! Actually, one of the ones I would definitely like to try is Etri. What the hell's the name? Etrian
I
Odyssey.
didn't know anything about those games, and I'm like, oh, they're Labyrinth type games. That seems cool.
It's definitely a change of pace for like RPGs and stuff like that. So I wouldn't mind trying that one out. What else? And then there's Kirby's Return to Dreamland. What I'm not sold on is the Nintendo Switch Online for Game Boy and Game Boy Advance.
I was so excited for that.
They don't have much of a selection.
The ones that they do have are
It's not
good,
games
though.
that I wanted to play.
Me and you had two different gaming styles then. Because all those games I was excited about and the ones that are coming on later.
It was none of the games that I played when I was a
It was
kid.
all the games that I played. That would be why.
But then again, I don't think I'd see the games I played be on there at least for a good while. Because it was like, at least like with the Advance, I played Game Boy Color. I started with the Game Boy Color, so it was the Pokemon games, the original Red, Blue, Yellow, those games. I don't see Game Freak allowing that right away. I don't see Tekken being on there. Trying to think what else. What else did I play on the Game
They
Boy
probably had
Advance?
Street Fighter 2 on there at some point.
Probably. I don't know. I'm assuming the titles that are going to be showing up as their own titles to begin with, or
Yep.
at least ones that not as much red tape.
Well, you say that, but like one that came out of nowhere was Alone in the Dark.
Fair enough. Never heard of that game, but
Wow,
fair
really?
enough. Never heard of Alone in the Dark.
They even had a terrible movie with Tara Reid in it, I think, for Alone in the Dark.
It must have been that bad because the only movies I know Tara Reid from is the American Pie movies.
Okay. Well, anyway, it was a movie based on the game, and I don't know why.
Yes. I don't know what to tell
Back
you.
to the direct. They remastered Metroid Prime. That's a big deal. That was one of the best GameCube games.
And it's supposed to, if I'm not mistaken, you're supposed to be able to change from side-scroller mode to first-person mode, all right?
That's a first-person shooter for Metroid, man.
Making it look like you're able to do side-scrolling.
When you turn into the Morph Ball, it's usually like a side-scrolling thing that you're going through. Sometimes it's from behind, but Metroid Prime was the GameCube's first-person shooter for Metroid, and that was like a big deal for that game to come out. Everybody was clamoring for it and loved it. And the fact that they remastered it and put it on the Switch now, and it's only like $30, or maybe 40.
Yeah.
Ooh, it got a 10 from IGN, and a lot of places are like rating it perfect. It's cool.
So another reason to get the Switch.
I would definitely recommend that game, yeah.
And then the next one, Master Detective, looked pretty cool to me. I like that whole concept.
Not for me.
It's basically it.
Yeah.
Really? Why not?
Just didn't grab me. Not saying I wouldn't try it if it was there, but it's just not my thing.
I don't know. I like the concept of being able to just like share people's abilities and figure out different aspects and clues and stuff like that as to what happened. I think that's pretty cool.
Batten Kaitos 1 and 2 HD came out, or is coming out. I thought that was exciting. I hadn't heard about those games since I was young.
This is the first time hearing of them, but they do have like the old
I know
school
what you're
style.
excited for. Fantasy Life.
What?
The girl who stole time. Or the girl who steals time. I know you want to farm and go back in time and fight dinosaurs and come back and plant shit.
I'm okay with
Get
that. This might actually be my jam. It looks like Animal Crossing meets
Final Fantasy 2 or
the
3.
Amiibos or whatever the hell. Huh?
What did you say? Animal Crossing meets Final Fantasy like 2 or 3.
That too. But like the characters themselves look like the little Wii characters that you can design on your own.
Oh, another thing that was cool too was the Mega Man Battle Network Legacy Collection. Those were some cool Game Boy games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I liked that concept of of Mega Man. Like, do you remember watching the TV
Never
show
watched
NT Warrior?
I watched the original Mega Man
that was a good
anime thing, and that was about it.
I did too, and I loved the whole robot concept and stuff like that. But I also like the way I could see, at least the way they did NT Warrior, I could see something like that happening. Because think about it, the whole concept of NT Warrior is, instead of Mega Man being a robot, he's a little program character that you can battle with other people.
I played the games. I know what it's like.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I forgot that the games were like the show. But and this was also during the time of like Metabots and all that. So they were all very they were all very, very similar concepts. But it's not that far-fetched that something like that could very well happen. So
it's like a couple steps up from a Tamagotchi.
I liked it.
Basically,
it becomes your own personal assistant or whatnot.
Do you remember the Digimon Tamagotchis? Yeah.
Yes.
I just thought of it. I used to have one too. Yeah.
Oh my god. I had one of those. I had the original Digimon Tamagotchis, and then I also had the Digivice versions.
I just had the original one.
What I'm surprised about what they showed up on the direct, they are showing the scenes for the April update. They didn't show anything about the ones that the update that we
Yeah, they
just
didn't
had.
put that out anywhere else, really, like besides their social media. Like that was just images too for the direct. They actually showed stuff from it. Well, I wonder why.
Right. You and me too. You and me
and me
both, I
too.
guess. Hey, my English not so good right now.
We'll switch over to Portuguese.
Oh dear God! It bring us a whole new audience.
I'll just sit here and nod and smile, act like I know what you're saying.
Yep. but but you must be excited about what they ended on.
Yes and no. Yes, because they showed off some cool new mechanics and things in the game, and the trailer itself was pretty neat. No, in the sense that I still don't know what the hell's going on.
What do you mean?
They're keeping like the story stuff close to the vest. They're not letting anything go about what's going on or what you're supposed to be doing in it.
Oh,
Just
okay.
showing off like gameplay things and snippets of things here and there. Ganon spoke again, and apparently it's Matthew Mercer's the voice of him. Everybody was freaking out online about that. But beyond that, I don't know a damn thing about the story or what's going on. It's pretty neat. I have my own ideas as to what they could be doing, or like it seems like they might be working in some things, but I don't know.
Okay.
It seems like they're like combining some things from Skyward Sword and some things from Twilight Princess. That's just my take on it, though. I can't tell.
To me, one of the big things, and again, I'm not a Zelda
Blasphemy.
follower, but it's basically sorry, but it looks like Link is going to have some type of cursed arm in this game.
He
he
did
have
not
that
have
before?
that before, but it looks like a cursed arm, but it also seems like a device that he wears over his arm as opposed to holding a device like he did in Breath of the Wild. Like the second trailer shows him working stuff like from Breath of the Wild, but with his hand this time.
Are you talking about like the magnetism and stuff like that? Speaking of which, I ended up going in through. I know this is a sidetrack. Going into some type of rabbit hole because I was looking at the comment section for the Nintendo Direct, and one of the main comments I was noticing was people were very impressed with the fact that Nintendo's paying attention that much, that people who broke the physics of the game, it got worked into, instead of them fixing that, they worked it into as an in-game mechanic for the
Those
next
are some
game.
comments I saw too. It's like Nintendo saw people making it in Breath of the Wild, so they just put it in the game.
It's like, shit, you're going through all this trouble.
Damn it,
We'll
that's
just
a
do
good
it this
idea.
time.
I
Come
guess
on.
I'll take it.
I just find that cool. And then I was like, what the fuck are you guys talking
You should
about?
play Breath of the Wild.
And I go to look it up.
You need to get it.
Mm-hmm. It looks like it's fun, and the fact that people were making their own flying machine, their own airships at that point, like holy shit.
I guess the one downside to that though is they showed that Tears of the Kingdom is going to be $70. Pikmin 4 is also
Jesus.
a Nintendo first game. That's going to be $60. They have come out and said, yeah, certain games are going to be $70 on a game-by-game basis. Not all of them will be. So it makes me wonder, what is that basis? Is it like their big name games are going to be $70? Like, is the next Mario game going to be 70?
I'm assuming so.
That's what it seems like.
Game, which I think is kind of a shitty thing to do, but people gonna pay the money,
especially for Nintendo. The other problem with that too is that Nintendo games don't really go on sale. That game is $70.
No, they don't.
That game will be $70 years from now.
Put it this way: the Pokemon games that just came out, I will guarantee you, I will go to GameStop this time next year, and a used version would probably be about the same price as a new version.
Probably. Because I'm pretty sure Nintendo dictates those prices because they own Pokemon.
You're right. So.
Yep. It stinks, but it seems like that's the new world we live in. Games have been moving that way, especially with new releases and stuff, so no surprise. It's just Nintendo's doing it weird.
Yeah. Pretty much.
So I'm going to assume you don't know anything about Billy Mitchell and the world record for Donkey Kong.
I've never heard of his name before today, or before you put that note in, but I'm reading it and all I can think of is the Adam Sandler's Pixel.
Okay. There's a movie that you should, well, a couple movies I can recommend you should watch if you are into behind the scenes stuff about video games. Not directly tied to this, but Indie Game the movie is a really good watch. But for him, King of Kong, it's an interesting movie. It's basically him and the not speed running, but the high score community for Donkey Kong, and I think there might have been another game, but mainly him. So that's all.
Well, my thing is I'm reading the description for this, and where they're coming into question that this his high score may not
legitimate
be, and may be faked or not. Yeah, all because of the joystick style on the machine. How do you know that people haven't played that game? That unless it's supposed to be a brand new system. How do you know that it's not a refurbished
because
joystick?
It's supposed to be a verified machine. The whole point of those is that you are playing on an original Donkey Kong machine that has not been tampered with, changed out, or anything like that, and you are getting the highest score possible in them. And he's Billy Mitchell himself now, throughout the years, has become sue happy. You talk anything about him, and he instantly tries to sue you. He's just not happy with his reputation being fucked with. Which, funny case, he's got the Streisand effect going on where he's tanking it himself by doing so. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
So he was putting on a show, basically saying, I can do this, I can get the high score here at some gaming show. And his high scores were stripped by Twin Galaxies because they said that he faked those high scores. And they've been in litigation for the longest time. He's been in litigation trying to fight against those claims and get his high scores reinstated. A new report, expose, whatever you want to call it, for this whole thing came out showing an old picture from this event of the arcade machine cabinet that he did those high scores on. Showing...
Okay.
So for context, the original Donkey Kong cabinets had a small joystick with a silver tube with a tiny black ball handle on it. It's maybe half an inch to an inch tall. In the picture for that arcade cabinet that he did it on, it was a longer red tube with a bigger red ball on the top of it. So that's leading to speculation thinking that maybe that's not an original Donkey Kong machine and it was messed with.
Now, when they're doing these high scores and recordings and stuff like that, where you're talking about it has to be a verified machine, wouldn't there be some kind of official there making sure before he even plays that machine is verified? So how is it fabricated if somebody who is tied to this is verifying everything else?
If it was verified.
How would they... That's what makes no sense to me.
The joystick is the smoking gun. They don't think that it was a verified machine. It was a modded one.
But even then, if his high score was official at one point or another, before they're questioning it because of the photo, I'm assuming whoever's who's supposedly verifying this to even make the high score official to some degree wouldn't they have anybody tied to that? Any ties to that official community? You get what I'm saying?
I'm sorry, I'm reading, trying to find the answer to your question. You want to repeat yourself?
It's no. What I'm saying is like for there to be any instance of it possibly being legitimate.
Okay, I got an answer.
And okay, go ahead.
So for the thing to have been legit, it says use of a non-original joystick would violate Twin Galaxies' Donkey Kong rules, which require games be played with an original, quote-unquote, an original stock 4-way Donkey Kong arcade joystick or a replacement 4-way joystick of exact size and shape as the original Donkey Kong arcade game joystick. The red one is an 8-way instead of a 4-way.
Okay. But that still doesn't answer my question. If if Twin Galaxies is invalidating his high score, I'm assuming whoever did supposedly validate it at that point to make it official to some degree at some point. I'm not going to get into the argument as to whether or not it's legitimate now or not. But for it to even be coming up at all, somebody that has ties to Twins Galaxies,
I guess the question is who supplied
somebody
the cabinet
has,
that they allowed it.
Yeah. Right, exactly. To some degree, there has to be some responsibility on Twin Galaxies or an affiliate who is allowing this to happen, and they're recording it, and at some point they legitimized it. Until recently. Why was it legitimate then and not now? And sorry for the long walk to a short drink of water.
I don't know. I can't seem to find anything about that.
That's where I'm skeptical
Apparently
about
the
it.
photos that were put out were
just
actually leaked photos. Like there was something about them trying to be hidden or not be put out, and they ended up being put out anyway.
Put out by who, and why weren't they put out to begin with?
I guess these photos were part of the deposition, and they got put out afterwards. Still interesting. It's been a hell of a ride to follow. But the dude has tarnished his own reputation. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I don't even know what to say.
Well, I mean, that's his main claim to fame. So, of course, when anyone threatens it, he's like, I'm going to sue you. It's kind of like Lars from Metallica.
Oh, Jesus, yeah.
Yeah. So the last thing, the fun...
good luck.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, good luck to him.
Why? He's an asshole.
Because he's an asshole, but at the same time, at some point they thought it was a legitimate. It was legitimate.
Hope for the best for everybody involved. How about
They're questioning it now.
The trivia thing at the end is just something I found kind of interesting, and that's literally word for word. So if you would like to read the trivia for this podcast, go for it.
Sure. So, the trivia Adam's talking about is video game company Acclaim chose their name to be listed alphabetically before Activision and Accolade. The name of the company, which was picked because it had to be alphabetically above the co-founder's former place of employment, Activision, and also had to be alphabetically above Accolade, another company formed by ex-Activision employees. This was a common formula for picking names of new companies that were founded by ex-Activision employees. The founders of Activision used this formula when they left Atari.
So they just kept trying to one-up each other and name companies by A names and get to the top of the list.
Oh my God.
That's how shit was done back in the day.
Why didn't somebody just call themselves AAA Games and
AAA
be done with it?
A company. Can't get away with that. I mean, I wonder if you could get away with calling yourself a game company.
Let's find out.
I mean, it doesn't matter these days.
Dun,
now.
dun,
dun.
It's not the same. Now, my question is, why the hell would they want to be one up that way? What advantage is there?
Your name appears first in like all the books and stuff.
Oh, okay. I forget we're so used to the internet nowadays. It's
Remember, people used to do business on Rolodex.
Rolodex, magazines,
Punch
Yellow
cards.
Pages. Oh my
We're
god!
sounding older and older as we go.
Yes, we are. Oh Jesus! I know it's not. I know it has nothing to do with video games, but I got triggered. You know the YouTube channel React.
Yes, it sounds familiar.
There, me and Callie the other day, after date night, we got home and we
Was that the one
put
where
on
they do all the
YouTube.
reactions to things?
And
Yeah.
it's
I know.
supposedly
because they had a specific format that they tried to get people to buy into before, and then that failed miserably.
uh-huh. Well, one of the videos, because it's been a while since we had seen that channel, and for some reason it popped up on our feed. And the video they suggested was it teens or young adults? I don't remember what it was. React to music from the 90s. No. I'm like, I'm like, this is not going to end well. We're watching this, and these kids have no idea, or they're... You know how there's that one pretentious kid no matter what? That's like the young adult or the young teenager that's pretentious and is like into old school music. And it's like, oh, I'm an old soul type of person. I'm like, stop acting like that about the 90s. They're not that bad. It's not that old.
When you think about it, it is.
I know. God damn it.
It takes you 24 years to go backwards to get into 1999. So, yeah. It's a long time ago.
Oh, Jesus Christ. The 90s was almost a quarter of a century ago. Jesus Christ.
We're half dead.
And I'm like, but the sad part is I'm like, I'm listening to the music that they're not recognizing at all, and I'm like, I listen to this music, especially like the rock music and stuff like that.
If it wasn't for this,
even the guy that, yeah, I'm like that, and the guy that's administering the React video, he's like, this is my all-time favorite song. I want to see how you guys react to it, and they're like, it's all right.
Jeez.
And trying to save his opinion because he liked the song, and I'm like, it's a good song. You guys don't know what's good.
It's like old man yells at clouds.
Yeah. Holy shit! I'm turning crotchety. The fuck?
It's all right. It's earned at this point. Damn kids, get off my lawn.
It's getting there, and that's bad.
I think it's safe to call it at this point. We got to put you to bed.
No! I need my pudding first.
God.
The hell?
All right. Go put your dentures in the water and get your pudding so you can go to bed.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, before we go, where can people find us? I have to ask you this all the time.
They can find us in the Rolodex and the Yellow Pit. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Spotify,
Apple,
anywhere where
Google,
podcasts can be
Anchor.
found, I'm assuming, at this point.
That's what we're all on. And
Yeah.
on Instagram and Twitter, we're
the
Ramblepack Pod and I think Ramblepack Podcast on Instagram. I think it's Ramblepack Pod on both. And Facebook, it's just the Ramblepack Podcast.
And if you guys requested enough, we'll maybe have an OnlyFans. Oh, yeah. Just to look at Adam's face right now.
I don't know what I'm going to do with you.
Leave it for the OnlyFans.
I'm going to click this button now. Say bye.
Good night, everybody.
You go to bed.
All right. So everybody, have a good night.